Welcome back to the channel. Today we are finally working on Beau's Evo motor. Today we're hopefully trying to get the whole motor retimed. We have a new ATI super dampener and new timing belt we're throwing on, along with a new water pump as well. Nope, water pump seal, gasket we're putting on. So this is our first time timing an Evo motor. We'll see how it goes. Thankfully, Beau went ahead and ordered a cam lock tool that we can put onto the motor, make timing a million times easier, having the proper tools to do it. We were able to get the cam lock tool positioned on there. It was kind of a struggle at first. It was you have to have it in the exact perfect spot for it to line up, but we got it lined up. Now we're gonna start taking all the timing components off and then strip down the timing belt. We have all the timing cover off, the pulleys. We just now have to take off this bracket and get to taking apart the timing. We got the timing stripped down, got this gross timing belt off. We're putting on the purple HKS to match the purple theme he has going on with the car. So now we have some new idlers, the timing one and just a regular pulley that we need to switch out, put the new ATI on, assemble that, and get to retiming this. I spoke too soon. We still have to pull off the water pump because we are replacing the gasket as we think it's leaking. You guys can see the coolant that has dried up on top. So we're gonna remove this. We have a brand new gasket we're throwing on, and then we'll get to retiming the motor.
Oh. Give me a towel.
So we got the water pump off. We expected a little bit of coolant to come out, but it just dumped everywhere, even after draining the coolant. So we have to clean that up and then get to replacing the gasket.
Say hi, baby.
We went ahead and got the water pump off. For some reason, they decided to also, along with just the gasket itself, put gasket sealer on there, which is kind of weird to do on a water pump. So I'm assuming that's why it was leaking. It was not properly sealed. So we went ahead, I just cleaned off this surface. Beau was working on the surface from the block itself, and then we're just gonna throw on the gasket itself and put it back on, torque down, and then get back to timing. Hey man.
Hey, what's up, man? So we just got the water pump on. It's all torqued up. Feels good. What's up?
Yeah, so we got the water pump back on to the motor, all torqued down, just using that OEM gasket, no of that stupid gasket sealer on top of it. Now we are going to be throwing on the new tensioner. We have new pulleys and get this retimed. And our new ATI super dampener. We have now got all of the pulleys and everything back on, and the motor is now ready to retime. We are going with the HKS timing belt, the purple, beautiful looking belt.
It's $400.
Yeah, this is an expensive belt. If you want to ball out, get this belt, or the regular Gates AutoZone belt will do just fine. But Beau wanted to ball out on a nice purple timing belt.
My timing belt. Because it's fun. I don't know. I've already done it. I just took it off.
Am I gonna break it?
No. Promise. If you were gonna break it, I wouldn't be smiling right now.
I'm torquing this one?
Yeah.
Is it in there?
It's literally just hand tight right now, so it'll just... Dude.
What?
Okay, you're good.
That's all I need?
Yeah.
Okay. So we just finished up timing Beau's Evo motor. A little trick with these motors timing it. They come with an adjustable timing pulley, which you'll have a, where's the little tool? Little tool that looks like this. And all that does is adjust the tension that you have on the belt. If it's not able to come out very easily, then you want to adjust this and make this tighter until this can come out very easily. So we just got this adjusted. We're just having to torque this back down, and the motor is timed. It is officially timed now. As you guys saw, it was very easy to pull out that pin, and that's what you're looking for when you're timing and getting ready to pull the tensioner pin out. And you can see it goes right back in, no problem.
And it should be able to wiggle a little bit here and there.
Yeah.
You should be able to just pull it right out.
So, if you have everything lined up and the tensioner pin comes out freely, more than likely did it correctly. Well, we fucked up. We got the motor timed and everything, but then we noticed we did not put the new ATI fluid dampener on. This is supposed to go where the crank is right now, the stock one. So we need to untime the motor and get the ATI on there and then retime it again. We are now putting on the new crank pulley, but we are having a little issue right now. This is as far back as it will slide in. We've tried tapping it with a mallet. I've tried putting the bolt in and tightening it to try to suck it in. Seems really sketchy. It's not really moving a lot, and since it is the crank, I don't want to put a lot of unnecessary stress on it because I don't want to damage something inside the motor. So I think we're gonna go run to AutoZone or O'Reilly's. I think they have a harmonic balancer install tool there. So we're gonna see if they have one down there to see if that makes this job a little bit easier, because this is very sketchy. It slides on the first quarter very easily and then it just stops. I don't know if it's something with that dowel on the crank. I'm not quite sure, so we have to figure that out. All right, we are now fast forwarding. I think it's 2 weeks now since we were timing Beau's motor. We ran into an issue, as you guys saw with the crank pulley. We ended up having to take this out to one of our local fabrication shops, and they ended up honing out the dampener for us, so it now fits on here. But then we ran into another issue. As we were putting the water pump on and had everything torqued down, it was still leaking, and that is because it's hard to see. The gasket is not the correct gasket on here. So this is a 4G 64 block, and we have a gasket for a 63. Turns out they're different gaskets. We were led to believe that they were the same, but no, they are different. So with the 63 gasket, it still leaves a hole. And our issue has been trying to find a 4G 64 gasket. For all you guys that have the same issue, we learned that the only gasket that works is from an 03 Outlander. We finally now have the water pump back on the car. We went ahead and used some gasket maker as well. I know I talked a lot of shit about the person who did this before, but we threw some on as well just to make sure it seals. So now that that is on, we can get back to retiming the motor and getting it ready to put back in the car. We also went and put on some new titanium bolts on the exhaust manifold, and we have some for the intake manifold. The rest they screw in, so they're not all studs like they are on the exhaust. So that's gonna be a lot nicer. They won't seize up when we try to take it off in the future, because titanium doesn't corrode. So that'll be very nice, and it just looks quite a bit better than the crusty 20-year-old bolts. We now have retimed the motor yet again, and pin should easily come out when you guys are timing an EVO motor. We are going to go ahead and crank this over and make sure that timing marks still line up. Well, I think that's gonna be it for today's video. I think this video is just gonna be strictly timing the motor. This video was shot throughout. It was like 2.5 weeks to get the motor timed. So I don't know what footage I have and what is usable. I try to make these videos like 10 to 14 minutes, so I don't want to continue and have a super long video. But the motor is now back together. Everything's been refreshed, new timing belt, retimed, and the next video will be putting the motor back into the car. A little recap of what I learned, at least, on this motor. When you're timing it, you want to make sure that you can pull this pin out very easily. That shows that there's a good amount of tension, because on these Evos you have the tensioner pulley right here that you'll adjust to get the belt tensioned. Another thing too is this motor is actually a 4G64, not your normal 4G63. So the water pump gasket and I believe the water pump are different. And of course what was on was a 4G63 water pump and a 4G63 gasket, which caused it to leak. So we went ahead and fixed that, so we shouldn't have any more problems with the water pump leaking. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Stay tuned for the 800 horsepower Evo build alongside of my STI build. That's going to be running a lot sooner than you guys think. And I have track day in just a couple days with the Honda, so I'm very excited for that. That'll be a fun video.